The nature of work, Seva, which I got involved was a very, very tough one, the mobile hospital service. It's because outreach, high quality, free, and where Swami wanted us to take full responsibility of. So it was a tough service. So at the end of the day, you become very tired. So I used to tell my friend, Mr. Umang, that I'm getting tired. And one day he told me, enjoy the joy of being tired, because getting tired in Sai Seva is the highest blessing, which normally doesn't happen. People get tired because of worldly things. You are getting tired because of Sai Seva. So obviously I realized that life also became joyful. We all theoretically know Bhagavan is God and Swami, but Swami himself declaring that the two in a close proximity in 3-4 feet distance in an interview in Bangalore, 2002 it was, when I had taken a team of super specialty doctors. Swami asked us, hey, you're all not talking. Say, how are you? Then one doctor, Giridhar, asked Swami, how are you? Then Swami said, me. Then he sort of rattled off. He said, I'm always happy. I don't know what is unhappiness. People come and say, my so-and-so has died. Then I smile. I say, Santosh. I say, Swami, you're hard-hearted. You're saying you're happy. So Swami said, and he said, he put out his hand and said, see my pulse. I was shaking. He said, it's always 60. Now weight always is 108 pounds. I don't have a single gray hair. All my teeth are intact. Then, when Swami told all this with folded hands, I said, Swami, you are the absolute. And you know what Swami replied? Swami said, yes, I am the absolute. So we all need to again and again remind ourselves that we have been, on the one hand, so fortunate to have God himself as absolute, the Parabrahma Swarupam, as we call, as our master. Secondly, Swami's teachings on the spiritual front, which appealed to me, 2 or 3 are first, he always used to remind us of the transience, the impermanence of world and worldly things. And for this, in an interview, I'll share with you how he puts the highest truth in the most humorous way. He said, 3 days I made you all sit. What to do? I will not mention his name. He was an ex-prime minister. He came. He had come, so I was busy and all. And he said, this prime minister, when he was the prime minister, he used to every day call me and tell me, Swami, my post is in danger. Swami said, I don't pick up the phone. I used to tell my assistant boy to tell him not to worry, not to worry. But when this became persistent, I told my assistant boy, tell him, Pote poni, let this post go. You will become ex-prime minister and cheppu. You will become ex-prime minister. Ex-prime minister at the permanent post. Idi temporary post kada. That is a permanent post. This is a temporary post. And when we all laughed heartily, Swami raised his hand and said, you also, in Telugu, he said, you also should not aspire or go behind things that are temporary and transient. And he said, aspire for that which is permanent. Bhagavantudu, God, ade permanent. And again, in another Thrai Brindavan session, where somehow I got an opportunity to sit inside, as you know, Swami used to share, he asked Professor Venkatraman, our radio side, Venkatraman, science and amity, what is science? So sir did not reply. As you know, they all wait for Swami himself to give the... Then Swami started off by saying, science is that which has no sense. And then he said, science will get sense if it realizes Sai is in, science. That is, truth is in, hidden, not known. The outer, all these names and forms are not real. Truth is something hidden behind. So, as I said, the impermanence of the world and the eternity of divinity, as I would call, is a strong spiritual lesson which Swami told. And again, people like me in the early stage are getting confused with what is all this God realization, self-realization and all. Swami made it very simple. How to lead our daily life. He said, lead your life just as an actor on the stage. Actor knows what he is acting is not real, but still he does it perfectly. He said, you also should live, but this is the most important part. Part 2. So I said, Kani Papam, meeku chala roles unnai. You have plenty of roles to play. You are a father to your child, you are a son to your parents, you are a husband to your wife, you are a brother to your brothers and sisters, you are a neighbor in the locality where you live, you are a worker in the place. So many roles. And he said, play all these roles perfectly. That will lead to God realization. In a way, that was an answer to the question which was pestering. So what Swami expects us, even though we may be calling ourselves spiritual seekers or sadhana, is to play all these roles in the world perfectly. And as I always think, not like the scientist Ramanujam, mathematician, who used to get 100 marks in mathematics but 0 in other subjects. So you have to excel as a son, as a husband, as a worker, everywhere. I know it's a very tough work. Many times we are good husbands but not good sons. So this is the sort of a spiritual truth which we need to remember. And one more thing, as you all know, Swami always stood for love. In fact, I would call Prema Yoga as the 5th yoga after Karma Yoga, Raj Yoga and all these things which Swami had come. The supremacy of Prema in all our day-to-day life. Like once when I told Swami Mobile Hospital Seva, Sraddhato, Bhaktito I am doing with... Swami stopped and said, Premato. His voice was not coming out well. Tell that you are doing it with love. And again, it is love which can remove everything. It happened in Darshan only. I asked Swami, Grama Seva Chestunamu, purity to cheyalani bless cheyandi. I should do with purity. Then Swami retorted, purity no develop chestava, nenu develop cheyalna. Will you develop or should I develop for you? Then I said, Swami, we only, but our efforts you should bless. Then Swami said, Tapaka. Then he said, Enduku pure kadanukutavu? Why do you think you are not pure? కానీ ఏమైతుంది, సూర్యుడిని ఏ విధంగా మేఘాలు వచ్చి కప్పేస్తాయో, హౌ సన్ గెట్స్ కవర్డ్ బై క్లౌడ్స్ అండ్ ఇట్స్ రేడియన్స్ డిమినిషెస్, మీలో కూడా అలా అవుతుంది బికాజ్ ఆఫ్ సో మెనీ ఫ్యాక్టర్స్. దాన్ని జరపాలంటే ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు రిమూవ్ దోస్ క్లౌడ్స్, ప్రేమ పెంచుకోవాలి. ప్రేమనే అన్నిటికన్నా సుప్రీం. సో ది సుప్రమసీ ఆఫ్ లవ్ and how that love we radiate, we effuse out is for each one of us a personal sadhana, a personal challenge. But we all know that this love, when put into action, is on a selfless service, seva. But again, there I would like to tell that as a spiritual lesson, Swami emphasized on seva, but in what way I'll tell you. Because when we said we are doing Swami some service in the same interview in 2002, Swami said, Prema ane chekku paina, the check of Prema, Tyagam ane santakam pettandi, sacrifice ane santakam pettandi, put the signature of sacrifice. Then Nijamaina Daiva Seva vastundi. So what Swami was trying to emphasize is Seva should be a manifestation of sacrifice. Swami's care and protection, is something very special. And the way it happens, you realize that it could not have happened in the routine course. Like one incident I can narrate. We had done village service in a place in villages around Kurnool. And from Kurnool, we were back to Hyderabad in a bus. It was night around 10 p.m. We all had dinner at a wayside stop. I had closed my eyes and I was just reflecting on the morning seva, where all we were inadequate and whether we really treated patients with love. Suddenly there was a big thud. And when I opened my eyes, I saw the bus in a slanting position going away to the other side of the road. And in another few seconds, it will go and hit a big tree. I could see. And instantly I shouted Sai Ram. And as the bus was going towards the tree to hit it, I said, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. And it was a bridge. The other side there was water. And the bus hit the tree. But the bumper of the bus got entangled in the big trunk. And that is how it could not free itself and fall into the river. But it was dangling in a slanted position. We were all down and slowly we were all pulled up. And believe me, nothing happened to anybody except one passenger had a rib fracture. Because I was a doctor, I could make out. Even the driver did not have any injury. But passers-by who were going, it was pitch dark. They were all asking how many people had died and all that. So, I realized this because Swami says, if you are in my work, my protection automatically engulfs you. There have been so many times. My friend himself, Mr. Romal, he had a fall in the kitchen. He broke his thigh bone. Evening when he was taken in a stretcher, Swami said, careless fellow, and then told him, if you had been on this day at some other place, not in Swami Seva here, your thigh bone would have broken into 100 pieces. So that is how, Swami's protection has been. And again, for my family also, once I was about to go for village service, my little daughter, she was about 6 or 7 years, playing with my car. And suddenly I heard a loud cry. So I went to a window which overlooks the car and found her fingers had got stuck in between the car door and the car. And I immediately ran down, but even at that time, believe me, I was praying, Swami, please see that my departure to the Grama Seva does not get delayed because of this. And as I went down on the way, she vomited out, which means the pain has to be very severe. In medical parlance, if somebody has vomiting with pain, it means degree of pain is severe. I went and slowly, opened the door, and I was sure it will be a crush injury. Believe me, it has to be a crush injury. When I opened the door, I found her all fingers had become red, but it was not like bent or broken or anything. And believe me, in a couple of minutes, she started again playing, running about. So a clear, like as I said, if something happens unusually, atypically, we will clearly understand it is Bhagavan who has done, and he wants to show that also, that he is taking care of you. We were all traveling in what's called the city ride bus. About 18 or 20 of us can sit in that. And there's a point where the bus takes a turn, a U sort of a bend. It's always a slightly risky place, and somehow our driver, I don't know who was careless, when he turned opposite an RTC, the government bus, big bus, it came and hit us. And I was in the driver's cabin and we all shouted Sai Ram. And believe me, nothing happened. But the most funny thing is, this city ride vehicle, though it is Tata make, but still, it really did not have any this. Whereas the bus, at the point where the passengers get into it in the front side, it got bent. So we were sure Swami had put his hand there. Medicine is not like mathematics. 2 plus 2 is 4 in mathematics. But here in medicine, it can be 2 plus 2, can be 3 or even 5. So what I mean to say is that though you might have put in the right efforts, or, it is not necessary that you get the result what you expect. Taking this as heading, numerous instances are there where, Swami saved us. So it is like this, a patient by name Adilakshmi, a native of Karnataka, very close by village. She had stones in the gallbladder, and post-operatively she developed a very severe complication called biliary leak. And it was not only COVID time, it was lockdown time. Everything was just tapered. There was no means for anybody to travel or anything to do. So when I called up our surgeons who had operated and gone back, he said that I would like to really come, but nothing is being allowed. Even ambulances needed special permission. And not only that, Dr. Narasimhan, this needs a medical gastroenterologist who can do a particular procedure where they put a stent in what is called the bile duct. Anyway, and we didn't have a medical gastroenterologist. So I rang up our Gandhi Hospital, Hyderabad, Madam Dr. Umang. She's the head of that associate professor. She said, you please send the patient, I'll take care. But what was happening was, every day her general condition was worsening. Whenever I make a call, her father would answer. He was an ex-patient of me. He was very grateful. So he was following what all is. I said, please give it to Adilakshmi. He said, no, she's not willing. She's not. And, this was going. So at that time, in my room, I caught hold of Swami's photograph feet and I cried inconsolably. Like I said, Swami, I am not worried if something happens to her. As you said, life and death are in your hands. But this mission, wherein in the mobile hospital we are identifying patients in villages, getting them operated, calling very expert surgeons, that mission may get weakened, Swami, because our management, our trustees, all would be scared. They may say, don't do these things. So for that sake, Swami, you please somehow. And a day after that, when I made the routine phone call, this time she picked up. I was surprised. She said, sir, I want to tell you something. I'm better now. And she told me, though she's a villager, she used the word coma. Sir, yesterday morning, I became so serious, I was lapsing into coma, I thought, sir. Coma le velipotane moni. Then at that time, I heard your voice, sir, Adilakshmi, Adilakshmi. And I was a little where has sir come? And I opened my eyes. When I opened my eyes, I find Swami standing in the left side of the foot end of my bed, and he was smiling at me. Then I thought, it is sir's voice. Kantamemo midi, rupamemo swamidi in Telugu, she said. Voice is yours, but I find the physical form of Swami. So I thought it is some, my own wishful thinking or some delirium. So I closed my eyes. Again, I heard your voice, sir, Adilakshmi, Adilakshmi. And when I opened my eyes, this time Swami was showing his abhayastam and blessing me. And sir, ninna podduna tarvata, after that, chala improve ayapanu. Today morning when I got up, I felt hungry also, sir. They had put a tube, they were not allowing me to have anything. I was refusing everything. And I ate 2 idlis also, sir. When you pray with a sincere heart, and as I said, the subject itself, medicine itself, is prone for mistakes to happen. Swami becomes very sympathetic and he responds.